So when I started flower farming, I was farming the flowers in front of my house. It was a smaller piece of property that used to be cow pasture for when Bob's family used to have a dairy farm here. We wanted more space and wanted to organize things differently, so we came to this field here. This field used to be more cash cropped, so it ran through a cycle of soybeans, wheat, corn. So we came here and we tilled, I think there was about 9 of them, 100-foot beds by about 50 feet wide, and we would add in compost, our own composted goat and sheep manure, and when it worked out in the fall, we would try and till in a cover crop. So I thought by continuing to grow similar to how we did in the front field, my soil would get better every year and it would become more like how the front field was looking. But I think purely because the front field was the cow pasture, the soil profile just had way more organic matter. It's just a different soil out there than what I'm dealing with here. And everything that we were working on wasn't enough. Actually, I felt like we were going backwards out here. We really created it was almost like a bathtub, these 50 by 100-foot bathtubs where we had a hard pan underneath and almost like a hard pan on the sides from where the tiller would come in and out every spring and fall, and water wasn't able to get out. And then the compost our own compost that we were adding every year was full of weed seeds, and the field's just full of weed seeds. So every time we tilled, we were tilling up gobs of weed seeds, and it was really hard to weed in this clay out here. So that was frustrating. The drainage issues were frustrating. So this is where I'm going to plant my dahlias this year. In these rows, and then I'm going to do what I'm doing here to some rows over there. And yeah, this looks like, you'd probably think I'm crazy. This is a ton of work. It's a ton of work, and I do a little bit at a time because, it's not the funnest job. But I'm digging 2 trenches. I'm going to put 2 dahlia rows in, and then I'm filling it probably with 8 or 9 wheelbarrows of compost, mushroom compost. And then I'm going to plant the dahlias into that compost, so I'll be surrounded by compost, because this is what my soil is like. This is my clay. When it dries out, it's like a rock. It's just a rock. And then this, what I just dug up, is wet. It hasn't dried out yet. It doesn't really it's not the kind of dirt that I want to work with. And so what I would do is I would try and plant my tubers in this kind of dirt, and then it would kind of work, but it wouldn't really seal up around the tubers. It was just kind of hard to plant in these kind of rocks, either wet or dry. And then the worst part was in the fall, the dahlias would grow okay, but to dig them up, this would just surround it. I'd have this clump of clay and tuber, and you could kind of break it off sometimes. You couldn't just wash the dirt. Some farmers just wash or use air and spray dirt off their tubers, but there's no way that ever worked for me. And then they were so heavy to carry crates of these tubers in. It was just a headache. So then I think this was 5 years ago, I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm going to plant straight into mushroom compost. And this is kind of how I started changing how I grow out here. Then I thought, I have all this compost here. I'm not going to till or mess with it. I put cover crop in at the end of that season, and then I just kind of made it no-till. And now this is my 5th year. This is kind of every year I pick a new section. I put my dahlias in it. It gets a ton of compost love. And then I've just been continuing adding cover crop and maybe an inch of compost every year to those other rows. And this is working for me. I know it's not for every farm. I'm a small farm. If you're larger, you would have probably some sort of tractor and equipment behind to make your furrows and plant your tubers. But yeah, I'm just a small farm. I'm just trying to make my soil easier to work with. This allows me now to keep my rows into no-till. My weed seed bank is not getting tilled up anymore. My tilth of the soil is way easier to work with. I'm able to pull my weeds. I'm able to get onto my beds way earlier. I wouldn't be able to even probably till my beds yet if I was continuing to till. So for me, this is not a method for everybody. This is working for me. And it will be beautiful, hopefully, come August, full of dahlia blooms. And you're probably wondering what all these beautiful red flowers are. Last year, this bed was tilled and we had sunflowers in it. And then when the sunflowers are done, I put it in cover crop. All was, I thought, would winter kill and be ready for dahlias this year. But the crimson clover didn't die. And this is my first year with crimson clover. I thought it was supposed to die. I think it's because of the warm winter. And it's mainly actually along the path because the soil was probably a little bit warmer along the path. It's very pretty. I like it. Like I could even see using it in bouquets. Yeah, so that's what the red flowers are. I'll just pull them as I'm planting my dahlias. Okay, so I just pushed back some of the leaf mulch that was over my eucalyptus and I cut them back and kind of dug around, and I am super excited with how many of the plants survived the winter. Like look at this. Look at all of this growth. Like this is so cool, and this is from a plant that wasn't even under plastic. It's just a hardy variety and I had a lot of mulch on it, and here it comes. Look at these baby stems coming. This is so fun.
So that goes in there and lifts it up?
Yeah. What do you think this was for?
I don't know why. It's a chicken tractor. So you can actually lift the wheel up. Just if I let go, it's going to stop. Yeah, he has a brake built in. Are you ready? Yep. Oh, stop. Whoa. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's
The wood.
There we go. Okay. I don't know if I can get it far enough. You were so strong, Jen. Okay. Round two.
I'm literally not doing anything.
Yep. Now you do have to do something. Push again. Well, Jennifer's not doing nothing. Okay, do it again.
Whoa. Okay, here we go.
It's off. Yeah. Yay. Okay, we're coming. Yeah, this is good.
That's so cool.
It's very nice.
And then just clean it.
Cool. So this is a chicken tractor. Jen has wanted a chicken tractor for a while, and I could build something like this, but I don't really have a lot of time. So Jen decided to buy one. So it came today. It got delivered. I'll let Jen tell you about who delivered it for her. But we're super happy. We have a chicken tractor now. We can put our chickens outside.
I am super happy. I have been searching Facebook Marketplace for something I wanted chickens or ducks in my field to help with my cutworm problem. So I've been looking for, I know Bob didn't have time to make me anything right now, and I don't have the skills. So Facebook Marketplace for the win, but it was pretty far from my place. So I sent my dad to go get it. So he picked it up and he delivered it to my to my farm. Isn't it so cute? I think it's screaming for red paint. I don't know. I not that I have time to paint it, but I think I really think I want to paint it red. I love it. So another week is over already. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I'm feeling a little bit of panic on my list of jobs to do, only because market's in a couple weeks, and then I don't get a full week. I have to prep for market and go to market, and that is pretty time consuming. But yeah, I'm just continuing prepping dahlia rows. I'm trying to get as many plants in the ground as I can, which is a little tricky because of the cutworm problem. So this bed here, I feel pretty safe planting. There is cutworm here. If I see a leaf eaten, I quickly dig around and try and find it, but there's very few here. As opposed to the other end of the field where there is hundreds. So I'm trying multiple approaches to get it under control. Number one, it's just nature. I think the season for them being extremely damaging is almost near an end. And so that's good. When I scout the field in the morning, I've been picking up, like I can just find them in where I see a lot of damage, I can just pick up them, and I've been looking for areas, getting as many as I can out physically on my own, and then I've been feeding them to the chickens, what the chickens seem to love. And the idea with the chicken tractor that my dad delivered is that we're gonna maybe put the chickens in there and then get fencing, and I can fence out areas where I want them to scratch and dig up the cutworm, which actually is the bed that I'm prepping for dahlias. That is probably my worst area for cutworm, and I wasn't worried about the cutworm eating the dahlias, but now that the cutworm have eaten the ranunculus, I'm like, last year they only ate my lisianthus, but now I'm like, I don't want to plant that bed with dahlias and then they start eating all the new dahlia shoots. So I kind of want to let the chickens peck around and dig around in that bed before I put the dahlias in next week. So next up is get the chicken tractor out there, see what they can do. And I'm still spraying with a BTK every few days, or if it rains, right after a rain, which is the bacteria that if the cutworms eat it, it should kill them off. I don't love spraying it, but I just need to get the infestation under control. And then hopefully in the future, the chickens and birds and other creatures can maybe keep the population low. I think I'll always have them, and not a lot of flowers to cut this week. It was just mainly my anemone already, which the cutworms seem to not eat the anemone, even though they're right beside the ranunculus. And then the geum. The geum is lengthening. I like it now. It's easier to use. So it's just, not a lot to offer on the flower front, but it's coming. My next season is peonies, which is super close with the warm spring we're having. So another week done, another week in the books, and I'm excited for next week to get that chicken tractor out there. So thanks so much again for hanging out with me, and I'll see you again next week.